Today, in our Operations with Polynomials unit, we're going to learn how to multiply two binomials together. So after this lesson, you will be able to use the distributive, well, it's the double distributive property to multiply two binomials together. This is really fun. It's one of my favorite things in algebra. So we are going to talk about it first. There's an example as with before. You can pause the video and you can look at this on your own again after class, but we are going to multiply binomials using the distributive property. I'm just going to insert that word double because basically you're going to be doing it twice. So you're going to be multiplying this x times this term, and you're going to be multiplying the 2 times this term. So there, the double distributive property comes in. There's a horizontal method and a vertical method. I'm always going to be talking about horizontal. I personally think the vertical is pretty confusing. So another place to review vocabulary is the word product means multiply. You'll be asked on the Regents exam, find the sum, find the product, find the quotient. There are kids that miss questions on the Regents because they forget what the word product or quotient means. So get those stuck in your head now so that they're not a problem come June. So we're going to do examples now. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. This has been done out for us, but I'm going to show you the concept. So here is our 2x minus 3 and x plus 5. We're going to use that big space. So 2x minus 3 and x plus 5. So the first way you could do this is you can use the double distributive property. Now we already know what the product we're shooting for is, so that's a good thing to have. So really you are multiplying. Let's rewrite this and say 2x and then say minus 3. And then let's keep our x plus 5 in the black. So I'll show this as 2x times x plus 5 minus 3 times x plus 5. So you can see where it's a double distributive property. So I am multiplying 2x times x gives me 2x squared. 2x times 5 gives me plus 10. Negative 3, remember to capture the sign, is a negative 3x or minus 3x minus 15. Now they're all the same color at this point because I have done that double distributive property. Now I'm looking for like terms like I have in the past. I don't see any except for the positive 10 and the negative 15. So I will rewrite this as 2x squared minus 3x minus 15, minus 5. Notice the degree. Ask yourself, what's the degree? Degree 2 is the highest exponent. The coefficient of the leading coefficient will be 2. It's that first one, and it is a trinomial. Even if the problem doesn't ask you to do this, practice. What's the constant? You should be thinking, oh yeah, that's the number without a variable. Here's our constant. Again, Regents multiple choice, definitely going to throw in on that type. Okay, you can also do this in the box method, like what they've shown here. So they have written it out as x plus 5, there's no term here, 2x minus 3. So one term goes on, or one binomial goes on this side, one binomial goes on this side, and you simply multiply the boxes, much like lattice multiplication in 4th grade. So you do 2x times x and get 2x squared, negative 3 times x and get negative 3x. 2x times 5 and get 10x, and negative 3 times 5 and get negative 13. Then you can, negative 15. So then you can add those all together, just like we did before. So this is great if you are more visual. It could be helpful for you. So there is another method. It's called FOIL, and it's a little bit of a shortcut. So let's talk through it. So sometimes you don't want to write out that double distributive property. So this is kind of outlined nicely, actually. You multiply what we call the first terms of each. First, x times x gives you x squared. Outer, the outside terms, x times 2 gives you 2x. inner, the inside terms, 1 times x gives you 1x or x. So we've got first, outer, inner, and last. I don't have a purple in my arsenal, so I will use black. I've got a last terms, 1 times 2 gives me 2. So now I can just add those together, and I've got x squared plus 2x plus x plus 2. And I know that 2x plus x is 2x plus 1x, or 3x. Notice this is a trinomial, degree 2, and the constant is 2, and your leading coefficient is 1. We say leading because it's the first one. Okay, so leading coefficient. Okay, and let's see what else. Our last time is a chance to practice. So we're going to use all 3 methods. The first one, we'll use the distributive property, double. The second one, we'll use the box method. And the third one, we'll use the FOIL method. If you are watching this on your own, please pause the video now and try on your own. If we're watching this in class, we'll also pause the video and then we'll resume after you've tried. So the first one, I'm using the double distributive property. So again, those colored pencils or pens, I'm going to rewrite this as m minus 3 and m minus 7. So this would be the blue m times m minus 7 minus 3 times m minus 7. It takes a little longer to switch your pens, but sometimes it makes it so much more obvious. So now you'll double distribute. So you've got m times m is m squared minus 7m. A negative 3, don't forget to take the sign with you, minus 3m or negative 3m, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So now I look for like terms. I don't see any to start. I've got m squared or 1m squared, but I do immediately see a negative 7m and a negative 3m, so that's minus 10m or negative 10m plus 21. Okay, double distributive. Now we'll do the box one for the second one. So you create a 2 by 2 box because you're doing binomials. And I would say x minus 4 and x. And you can say plus 2, I'm just going to do positive. So I'll include the sign if it's negative. And now I multiply. X times x gives me x squared. X times 2 gives me 2x. Notice the number goes first. X times negative 4 gives me negative 4x. Again, number goes first. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Now this is super nice because you know your x squared has no like term to it. Your negative 8 has no like term to it. And like with lattice multiplication, you've got these. So a negative 4x and 2x gives you negative 2x. So say to yourself, trinomial, degree 2, leading coefficient of 1, and a constant of negative 8. And our last one, we'll use FOIL. This is most commonly used once we get going. And you've got an n times an n squared, so that will be n cubed. Remember your exponent rules. I think the outer was blue. N times 3 is plus 3n. The inner, I'll use green. 2 times n squared is plus 2n squared. And your last would be 2 times 3. Remember, you're multiplying, not adding. So now I have no like terms actually, but it is not in proper order. So I need to get it in that leading coefficient of the highest degree, which I have, and I need to reverse the 2 middle ones. So plus 2n squared plus 3n plus 6. So it is a polynomial, degree 3, with a constant of 6 and a leading coefficient of 1. You don't need to put the 1 on there. And that wraps that up for today.